Hello, you are listening to KPCALP in Petaluma, a free-range radio TV station. This is Dynamic Change, and the focus of this show is to explore more ways to develop wellness and also a fulfilling connection with others within your life. My name is Michelle Love. I am a certified wellness coach, self-defense instructor, and fitness trainer with a degree in psychology. For more information on me, you can go to my website, dynamicchangewellness.com. You can also email me through the website with questions on upcoming shows, and I will discuss the questions that you have and brainstorm answers of ways to solve the particular question you have. Today, I will be discussing how to create boundaries that make us feel safe on a deep emotional level. First of all, I would like to say it's vital that we check in with ourselves when we're relating to others, out and about within our life or out in the world, at our job, everywhere, and to take notice of how we feel in our body when we have those interactions. I think a lot of times we get very numb to the amount of stress that we feel within life, and we have to take time to really check in with ourselves and see where do we need to develop some boundaries to make us feel really safe and secure within ourselves, and that we are able to do what we want to do, not what we think we should be doing with people or feel obligated and are saying yes in moments where we really didn't want to do that particular thing. It could be a simple thing, it could be a big thing, but I think it happens a lot in life where we kind of go along, and it's really important to step back at times and tune into ourselves and see what feels right and comfortable and authentic for us, so we can be as whole as possible with how we express ourselves and how we feel. So, a good way to tune in to how you are feeling, because you have to kind of take notice and maybe write it down, and it takes some effort to tune in because we are very busy. So hopefully within your life there are days off, maybe you can try to put them together. I think that's really important, where you can move very slow. Because in order to really tune into yourself and be present with yourself, it requires us to move in a slower, deliberate space within ourselves. So if you have those days off, it allows you some time. Maybe do all the errands one day, and then the next day you just sit down and be quiet for a while in the morning and in the evening, before you start doing activities that are hopefully bringing some fun for you, wellness that is fun. So to tune in, you can start by doing some deep breathing, which I will do a meditation with you at the end of every show to show you how to do these things. But deep breathing allows us to calm the body down, to really get into our body, to calm the mind. And oxygen feeds all the different aspects of our being. It helps your body function better, it helps your mind function better, it increases your energy level. Oxygen and water are extremely important. So you can bring a big glass of water, drink a big glass of water so you're really hydrated, and then take some really deep breaths, and then start to notice. Close your eyes and notice how you feel in your body. Are there any areas of your body that are holding stress? And if you feel stress somewhere in your body, see if you can locate what that is. Is that from negative thinking? Is it from feeling pressured? Is it because you are thinking about things you need to do involving other people, where you feel like you need to do it their way, where you would rather not do it and would like to avoid it because it doesn't feel quite right. These are the kind of things we got to look at. And even if it's just stress from a pattern in life, a way that we work, a way that we push ourselves, often these come from places of feeling like we don't deserve to feel balanced within ourselves, which is a lot to say, but I think emotionally, a lot of times we don't feel worthy of that kind of peace within ourselves. So we can say it in our mind very easily, but it's not always there on an emotional level. So once you've checked in and think about where you feel any stress in your body, close your eyes, keep breathing, and see if you can relate it to a situation, a pattern, a way of relating with others, some place where you might need some support. Because we all have these kind of dynamics, and the goal is to learn how to create a safe net and a structural change within our behavior and our emotional body so we don't have to feel this stress. So often journaling can help this process if you're doing it and you're not getting some clear information for yourself. You can try journaling. And also, if your mind is really busy, sometimes we need to open up the energy and the flow within ourselves. So art is extremely helpful for processing the emotional body and creating a flow. And so is exercise and opening up, like relaxing the mind and opening ourselves up in other ways of awareness within ourselves. So you could try both. You could go for a walk, you could do a short workout, find a nice YouTube video, or just go walk the dog, or take a stroll around the park. Do something that allows your body to have that release. And then you want to have the mental release. Maybe doing some sort of art. If you're a musician, you could play some music. You could do some just drawing. Some people like to use the coloring books, the adult coloring books, because they just, you don't have to think. Letting our minds relax and doing something simple that is enjoyable, where you can just work with color, can be very soothing. And so giving yourself some outlets to calm the body, calm the mind, and then continue to do some deep breathing, maybe more deep breaths, sit down and take out the journal or a piece of paper and just write down what you notice that you are feeling. Does your stomach feel stressed out? Is your neck and shoulders really stressed out? So if our neck and shoulders are really stressed out, often that is connected to some really heavy thinking, maybe some overthinking, maybe trying to solve something that's not ready to be solved. There doesn't have to be a push. We don't always have to have a deadline or a judgment on ourselves on when things have to happen. So in doing this, you can sit and journal and really just tune into what am I finding within my body. That see where you tend to hold tension. There's certain parts of our bodies that register our stress, where we carry it. And just see if maybe there's a thought that you have when you tune into that part of your body. Maybe there is some old buildup of guilt, or maybe there has been some really stressful events that have happened in life. So I'm going to give you some examples of how someone that had some life experiences that were challenging, and they can be mild experiences, they can be traumatic experiences, but I'm going to give you some examples of how our somatic tissue, our body experience, can reflect that kind of stress and just hold it within our lives, and it will affect how we believe and feel and how worthy we feel with having boundaries for ourselves. And it will play out within our lives. So I'm going to give you this example and show you a way to develop some boundaries for deep emotional safety. So my example, I'm just going to make up a name here. So if I had a person and their name was Sally, and Sally grew up with a childhood that had, whether it was physical feelings of violation or even just verbal abuse, this could be reflected in a couple different ways. So Sally has noticed that in her life, when she is around someone she's unfamiliar with and they stand too close to her within her personal bubble space, and for her it triggers a reaction, like a trauma reaction. And trauma can cause freezing up inside. There can be this reaction of not knowing how to respond. If there has been abuse at a young age in particular, where you've imprinted on it, the psyche has this, I believe, inability to know how to redirect the situation. The trauma can produce just this idea, this belief on a deep emotional level that we have to take it, that it's just part of life, that it's something that's going to happen and there's no way to really change and alter that. So to work with a pattern like that, Sally realizes that it makes her extremely uncomfortable and that she feels this freezing up within her body, and she doesn't know what to do with that and doesn't think there could be another way to experience that moment. So the ways that she could really look at that are creating a new dynamic very deliberately. So I'm talking about a pattern, noticing something that tends to keep coming up in your life. So that way you can develop a plan, a very holistic plan that addresses all the different layers of yourself to start adjusting how you're going to respond to this particular trigger and pattern, so you don't feel subjected to it anymore, where you feel like you're not empowered. So to empower yourself, we're going to start with behavior. So behaviorally, Sally could come up with some physical ways to handle this type of dynamic. So body language is very powerful. I'm a self-defense instructor, and I talk a lot about how we communicate and how we use our body language to have a very present, very confident, direct way of expressing ourselves. And especially when we're dealing with something that makes us feel unsafe or a little fearful inside or frozen, we want to find a way to empower ourselves. So physically, what Sally could do is, when she feels someone come up beside her that she's unfamiliar with, that makes her uncomfortable, is she could turn her body to face them, take a step back, put her hand out to maybe shake hands to create space. So she is now facing them, which is a powerful expression of the body language. It's very direct. You can have eye contact. You're not just letting them be behind you or beside you, where it's a less direct way of addressing someone. And if she's putting her hand out, then she is creating that space. She is also dictating what she's comfortable with, because maybe that person was planning on putting their hand on her shoulder, or relate in a way that maybe they don't mean any harm, but it was very uncomfortable for her. So for her, she wants to reclaim her sense of space. If she grew up with a dynamic that made her feel like there was some violation on an emotional and physical level, then she needs to reclaim that for herself, to heal that. So by commanding the situation on what she feels comfortable, so she can put her hand out, she can take a step back. She could also, walk across the room and say, hello, how are you doing? And just casually walk across the room to create space. Sometimes there's furniture in the room. You could even casually step behind, the table or chair as you're talking to them. But really directly looking at them in the eyes, with your body facing them, is definitely a confident way to hold your stance in that moment. If it's very uncomfortable and you need to kind of check in with yourself, you could also excuse yourself and say, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I have to make a phone call, I'll be right back. And we don't have to overly explain ourselves and feel obligated to justify why we might need a moment. But you can also, if it's a very stimulating dynamic for you, even say, I have an appointment to get to, I will text you later and let you know when I can talk. So giving yourself a couple of ideas, it's like creating a plan for yourself, things you can say, things you can do to alter the situation, is very empowering. Often I think we don't have plans for situations, and if we know we have a particular challenging dynamic, if you create a plan, it is so empowering, and it makes you feel like you can create safety, and you have the right to create that safety anytime you need to. So again, you are listening to Dynamic Change, and this show is focusing on how to create wellness in your life. And today I'm talking about creating boundaries that make us feel safe on a deep emotional level. So to continue that, I'm made up a name here for somebody. Sally is trying to find a way to feel safe. She grew up with some behaviors that were abusive, some verbal abuse and occasional physical abuse that created a sensation of violation on an emotional psyche level. So the body has this somatic experience of trauma, remembering how it feels to kind of feel out of control, someone violating your psychic space, your mental space with the verbiage that's abusive, or physical abuse. How can we create a safe container of boundaries? So we've already talked about physical changes, body language, ways you can get out of the situation or take control of the situation in a very direct, confident manner with your body language. Now, also, so there's the physical aspect of handling it, and then there's also the emotional aspect of this. So really creating a dialogue with yourself that you are deliberately focusing on, whether you're doing a guided meditation of just deep breathing and relaxing, or journaling, or as you're driving in the car, just imagine feeling worthy of feeling safe. And whatever you need to feel safe is completely valid, completely okay, and completely within your rights. So in developing that for yourself, really imagining in your body how safe you're going to feel when you change this dynamic. How are you going to feel when you decide, okay, I don't want to be in this situation anymore, so I'm actually going to tell them I need to leave for right now, I'll contact you later. So again, you're in charge. You are establishing how you would like this flow to go, rather than feeling subjected to their flow. And how is that going to make you feel? Are you going to feel safer? Are you going to feel more in control? Are you going to feel empowered? And then that ease in your body is going to start to affect where the stress has been held. So you just want to keep working with the body, working with that somatic and emotional experience. Keep telling that part of your body and keep thinking it over and over in your mind that you are worthy of having this ease in your body, having this relaxation that is the result of feeling safe. So then you're working on the emotional body, and you're also addressing any kind of thoughts. So often we have negative belief patterns and thoughts that dictate how we handle ourselves in life and when we're interacting with others. So just take notice on what has your mind been thinking around this particular topic, and maybe write that down and notice and put it in a journal, put it on a piece of paper. And maybe your mind believed they're smarter than me. Other people are smarter than me, so therefore it is their right to be in charge over me. Or they're more powerful than me. Or they're my boss, so I have to just subject to whatever flow they create within the dynamic. So look at the belief patterns and start to switch it, reverse it. No one is more than me. I'm always enough. Everyone's really equal, I believe. So no one has more power, and it is important to look at people as peers and to really recognize that we need to respect our own boundaries, and that allows us to feel whole and present with people. And it's just vital to feel emotionally feeling balanced, which will help your health be balanced and have your connection with others really be the most fulfilling that you can create. So we don't want to have deficits in our ways of relating or ways of taking care of ourselves, because it gets in the way of us feeling whole. And being in our power and coming from the strongest place within ourselves comes from feeling whole. Okay, so once you've looked at how am I thinking about this, I will create a way to think in a new way. You have to give yourself new thoughts to start focusing on. So once you've noticed how you've been looking at this, create some new thoughts that you will focus on at that point. So you will focus on thinking, I am worthy of feeling safe at all times. I am worthy of creating boundaries that are necessary for me to feel happy. I am worthy of being in control of whether I want to be talking to someone. And just constantly, and you can always throw that one in, I am worthy of love, and I am worthy of feeling comfortable and safe within my body at all times. I think often within our society in particular, boundaries are not a very strong, well-developed tool that a lot of us have. And I think part of that stems from not placing the value within our society of feeling emotionally grounded within yourself, and there being a level of permission, of everyone having permission to really contemplate what makes them feel safe, what makes them feel like they are respecting what they need. And I think these are really powerful things to start looking at. I don't think we put enough thought into and checking into and being present with ourselves. So therefore we're just kind of doing these things in life, and sometimes it's very uncomfortable and it creates a lot of stress. So notice how you think about it. You want to give yourself a new mantra and thought that you can rehearse. You have to rehearse these things to retrain our ways of behaving and thinking and feeling. So you give yourself a new way to think about it. You've given yourself a new way to feel about it. And just communicate yourself. You're communicating with your inner child. So the patterns that we develop come from our childhood experience, which means our inner child, the younger parts of our psyche, imprinted on these belief patterns, and then these behaviors develop. So we want to communicate with them as if we were the parent to those younger parts of ourselves. So very lovingly, very compassionately, being really present and really acknowledge, how do you feel inside around this issue? What does it trigger for you? And really start to find ways to nourish that part of yourself. And so let that part of yourself know. If you can tune into it, this is really powerful. So this is like inner child work. So if you tune into a younger aspect of yourself, you can remember when this developed, when this belief pattern developed, when this uncomfortableness that you feel in your body developed. You know, talk to that age, talk to that time in your life when it developed. And now as an adult, you have all this insight, you have all of this emotional intelligence you can bring to that part of yourself that is struggling, right? Because our inner child tends to stay stuck in that experience, and they don't know how to move forward, so they keep acting out this experience that was painful, and they don't know how to change it. So basically, you have to let them off the hook and let them know you don't have to keep going through this pattern. I'm in charge now. You get to rest, and this is how I'm going to handle it now. So we can feel in control of this pattern. You can relax. I'm the adult here. I understand this is how you feel. And really validate those feelings. That was a scary experience. It did not feel loving. It did not feel kind. And the result of experiencing that was having this feeling of kind of yuckiness or stress in our body, feeling uncertain of what to do, or freezing up. Maybe it was fearful and it was scary. So really acknowledge it and write that down. And later I'll give you some techniques of how to handle what comes up. But you want to tell that younger part of yourself, okay, this is the new plan. The new plan is when someone behaves where they get into our personal space and we start to feel uncomfortable, I am going to turn towards them. I'm going to look them in the eye. I'm going to address them. You can also ask them questions. I love this one. So a lot of times people that have intrusive behaviors, they're really coming into your space, which means their energy is going towards you. Their words are really towards you. So when you turn that on them, you're turning the focus back on them by asking them questions. Just have some random questions. They do not have to be applicable per se to that situation, but I would have an arsenal of, oh, hi, who are you? Oh, is this your first time here? What do you do for work? Where are you from? Do you have a family? Are you married? Like, just have a bunch of questions. Like, it's kind of like a stalling tactic, which I think is very useful. And it gives you time to think about how you want to handle this situation. But it makes them stop coming towards you with their energy. It breaks that up. It gives you a barrier. So you're going back towards them. You can create physical space, but your energy, your mind, you're directing the whole situation back on them. And that is a really good way to stop someone that's really, sometimes they're a bully. Sometimes they want to be intrusive. Sometimes they want to see if they can manipulate. Not everyone's like this, but there are people like that in life, and this helps us create a barrier. So you're creating a verbal barrier. You're creating a physical barrier. Maybe you walked across the room. Maybe you walked across the room and took a drink of your water bottle across the room. It creates space. It allows you to think and have a moment to tune into yourself on what you need in that situation. So you have a physical plan. You can also leave. It doesn't matter if it doesn't feel 100% appropriate, what is more appropriate is that we take care of ourselves. You can always contact the person later if it is someone that you need to communicate with, but you can, if you need to take space, that is really the most important thing. So finding ways to create what you need and making it very accessible. So practicing this in your mind is very, very important. So we have a physical plan, we have a verbal plan, and then we have an emotional plan. We're going to continue to talk to the inner child, or just that sensation within ourselves that we are worthy of a new feeling, and we are not going to give up until we have established that new experience for ourselves. And this creates more deep feelings of safety within ourselves. So we have a new mental plan, a new physical plan, a new emotional plan. And then what I recommend is doing meditation, and it can be easy meditation. I'm going to do a guided meditation with you. I teach meditation to show you how to really integrate this into your body. So before we do that, I'm going to give us a little announcement, because I am here today with KPAC LP in Petaluma, which is a free-range radio TV station. My name is Michelle Love, and the name of this show is Dynamic Change. And we are talking about ways to create boundaries within your life that provide a deep feeling of safety on an emotional level. So I'm going to take this break, and I'm going before our guided meditation and let you know with this announcement that we have Reggae Radio on Fridays at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It is hosted by Zoro Drux. Zoro, with his 20 plus years as a DJ, brings his love and knowledge of reggae music to Reggae Radio every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. with a focus on Jamaican style reggae music, past and present. Reggae Radio hopes to educate you with the good vibes, keep you up to date on the local reggae scene, and ease you into the weekend. So relax and keep the IRA vibes flowing. Special requests are always welcome. That sounds fantastic. I will have to check that out. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through a guided meditation on how to integrate a new plan to create boundaries that make you feel safe on a deep emotional level. I teach these kinds of things as I am a certified wellness coach and a certified fitness instructor, and I teach meditation and self-defense. And when I teach self-defense, I think it's really vital to look at how can we feel safe and assertive within our lives in all the different layers. So this is my goal today, is sharing this with you. So you can do this with me now if you have a place where you can sit down and you can close your eyes. And if you have a big glass of water, it's always great to start with a big glass of water, because if you drink a big glass of water, not only are you hydrated, which is good for all aspects of our being, but it then encourages you to take a big breath of air. So we want to oxygenate. And when we breathe deeply, it helps relax the mind and calm the body. So hopefully you've had some water and you're sitting down comfortably, and you can close your eyes. I like to uncross the legs. I like to put my hands palms up on my legs so my body language feels very receptive. And I'm going to take some deep breaths. And deep breathing, what helps facilitate really deep breaths is when you exhale, contract your abdominals and push out all the air that you can, and just hold it for a moment. So when you then inhale, you're going to inhale this very deep breath. Try to breathe all the way down into your belly. And then when you exhale, try to push all that breath out as fully as possible, and then hold it a moment, and then get ready to inhale very deeply all the way down into your belly. So we're going to do about 5 deep breaths together, and you will breathe at your own pace. I practice this so I can breathe pretty long breaths, but it's really it's a practice. You have to practice this. It is a discipline. We tend to breathe shallow often in life. So here we go. So breathing in, and then hold it. And when you're ready to exhale, try to exhale fully. Contracting the belly, expelling all the air out. And then you're going to inhale, hold, and exhale. And then inhale, and holding. When you're ready to exhale, release. And 2 more breaths. Holding and exhale. And last time, inhale. And exhale. Okay, so you can continue to have your eyes closed and keep breathing deeply this entire time. So as you breathe, I'm going to have you tune into your body. So we want to listen deeply to our body at this moment. And learning to listen is so powerful. It helps our health, helps our emotional health, our mental health, and our physical health. Learning to listen to ourselves. Later, we can also learn how to listen with others, but first we have to start with ourselves. So notice, where do you feel tension in your body? Do you feel tension in your stomach? Do you feel tension in your heart? Do you feel a lot of tension in your neck, like your mind just won't stop thinking all the time or worrying? Notice where you are feeling this. And what we're going to do is try to see if you can connect an emotion with that tension. See if you can notice, I feel, this type of feeling in my stomach. I feel stress, worry, concern. I feel pain in my heart. I feel this depression or anxiety or this grief that I never resolved. Think about, or I feel all this tension in my shoulders because I'm stressed about money, I'm stressed about work, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out, I'm tired, whatever it is. Like, start tuning in and see if you can label for yourself what is the emotion. Then once you've found the emotion that is connected to that, and if the emotion feels inaccessible at the time, write any adjectives you can come up with and just start articulating what is the experience in my body. And then after you've figured that out, you're going to send, and you can at that point see if you can relate it to something from the childhood. I think it's very helpful because all these patterns that we create, they get originated in the childhood. So just thinking, reflecting a little bit. If nothing comes up, don't worry about it. But if something comes up, just take note of that and say, okay, we're going to go back to that when you're ready, of what caused this dynamic. You don't have to do it now. Okay, so I want you to pick a beautiful color. Decide a color that feels just really healing, really beautiful, really inspiring, really evoke some feelings and that feel very positive for you. So now we're going to continue to do our deep breathing, but I want you to pull that color and make it like a big energy ball. You're going to pull that color into that part of your body. So create this big swirl of energy of color. And what this color is going to do is it's going to start breaking up what's been held in the body, whether it's pain, whether it's connected to a trauma, connected to stress, whatever that tension is, we're going to start shifting it. So with our breath, you're going to breathe that color in. When you exhale, after about 5 breaths of pulling in that color and spinning it in that part of your body, imagine when you exhale, you're going to be releasing the sludge of the old tension and stress. So first, let's breathe in the color. So do this with me now. You're going to be sitting down, eyes are closed, palms up on your legs. Take 5 deep breaths. Breathing in the color and exhale. Breathing in the color and exhale. And breathing in the color and exhale. And breathing in the color and exhale. Another breath and exhale. Now we're going to imagine exhaling. We're still going to hold that color in that part of our body, spinning, beautiful ball of energy. And when you exhale, you can give it a sludge color. It can be gray, it could be black, it could be brown, yuck, whatever you want to give it. But this stuff, you're going to push it out with your breath. Push it out and release it out of your body and just let it go. Okay, so we're going to inhale, exhale, pushing it out. Release it from your body. Inhale, exhale, release it. 2 more breaths. Exhale, release. Last breath. And exhale. So taking 5 deep breaths just to keep breathing. And see how you feel. Pay attention to how does that part of your body feel now? Does it feel more regulated? Were you able to release that? And hold that color there. And just keep that color there as you breathe deeply. And last breath. So when you do these type of guided meditations, you can decide what works for you. Sometimes I recommend to people they can imagine a wind. You know, they can pick an element that they like wind comes into their body, this beautiful color. This wind comes in and kind of just flushes out their body and their mind to help push out negative thoughts and old patterns and thinking and this sludge. So you can use winds. You can use water. Sometimes people are really fond of water. Imagine a beautiful waterfall coming through your body and pushing this out, flowing out of your hands, out of your feet. Or you can do fire. Fire is one of my favorite. I love to build a fire of color within my body and let it break up any negative energy, negative thoughts, beliefs, feelings in my body and fill up my body with fire. So now, just to complete everything, I want you to think about what sounds good. Do you like building a fire within your belly? Do you like and making it big and fill up your whole body? Do you want to fill up your whole body with water that comes through, starting at the top of your head and washes through your body with this color to release and expel stress? Or do you want to do wind? So get creative with it. We're going to take 2 more breaths, and you pick what resonates with you to really flush out any stress. So breathing in and releasing. Breathing in and releasing. So I recommend, after doing this, journaling can be very helpful to give you some feedback. What did I find? What do I need to release within my body? And if you found things that you were like, oh, I had a pattern from my childhood that was, really challenging. It was a difficult experience. Write about it and start giving it a safe container. You can start developing through your writing, or you can just do this with your mind. Also, creative thinking, developing a safe space for your inner child. So creating a safe space is, I like to say, okay, where do we want to be? Do you like to be, does your inner child want to just have an outdoor space under their favorite tree or in the flower garden? Or is there a particular room that they really like? What can we do to make them feel safe and cozy? Maybe they like animals and they want to have a dog there with them, right? Or any kind of animal that they really resonate with. Or maybe some people like angels. You can ask the angels to be there with you. They can light a candle or have a beautiful bonfire, or they can have a nice warm fuzzy blanket, their favorite stuffed animal, their favorite pet, whatever it is, and start creating a space where they feel like they have a guardian there with them. It is a place of their choosing that you're going to create for them. You're going to make it warm. You're going to make it a protected space. You can put them in protective energy. We have energy. Even the scientists can't deny this. We have energy that's part of our being. So you can put like a pyramid of protective energy up for them if you like. So you can even draw a picture that is symbolic of feeling safe, and start really giving them some safe container for themselves that you are going to be creating. So we will always be working on that in every show, ways to create that for yourself. So again, this is Michelle Love. This show is Dynamic Change, and the focus is to create boundaries that make us feel deeply emotional safe in our lives. The focus of this show is just creating more wellness in life and fulfilling connection with others. Next week, I will be discussing how to handle feeling responsible for others' survival. Often we put other people's survival and needs before our own. And so I'm going to be addressing how to create healthy boundaries around this dynamic. I will be open for questions. You can contact me through dynamicchange.wellness.com. That is the website, or just the email is dcwellness88@gmail.com. Again, dcwellness88@gmail.com. dcwellness88. So those are the ways you can send me questions, and I need the questions about within the next 4 or 5 days. Every Wednesday, this show will air at 11 a.m. and I will record it and put it on Facebook and on my Instagram and also on YouTube, and that way you can watch it and think about what would you like solutions for within that particular topic, or if you would like me to talk about future topics that you would like some feedback on, you can also just give me topics that you're interested in as well. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited for being able to communicate with you, and I'm so grateful for working with KPAC LP in Petaluma. So again, we are talking about how to develop a new plan of behavior when handling situations that make you feel uncomfortable and maybe a little panicky inside that create anxiety. So today we discussed how to create new body language of taking control of the interaction with that situation to make you feel safe, ways to think about it differently, feeling worthy of having a different experience where you can feel comfortable, figuring out what would make you feel comfortable and how to bring that about, how to have a different type of verbiage for yourself. And so the idea is to meditate on this. So to me, anytime we put our intention and focus on something, it is like a meditation. You could go for a walk and just think about this new plan. This is what I'm going to say when this particular scenario comes up that you've realized is a particular pattern that throughout life has been distressful for you. So you could walk and just think, okay, this is what I'm going to say, and keep rehearsing it over and over in your mind. This is how I'm going to start thinking about it in a new way, that your needs are the most important things in that moment. So thinking about it in a new way, as opposed to focusing on what the other person's needs are. I think often that is what we do. So thinking about what do I need and really tuning into that. Where am I holding the stress in my body, and start sending, breath and energy to that, and just relax it. And then also maybe doing some journaling, doing some art, doing music, doing something to move the emotional body, to stimulate creativity and wellness in our lives. Exercise is vital, whether it's just going for a walk, going to the gym, playing your favorite sport, but doing things that help us feel in our body, feel like we're getting in our body, we are doing something to take care of ourselves, brings more wellness. So again, this is Michelle Love. This show is Dynamic Change. I am a certified wellness coach, self-defense instructor, fitness trainer, and have a degree in psychology. And we will continue to talk about ways to develop more wellness and to find more fulfilling connection with others within our lives. I will also be discussing parenting tips in the future and self-defense techniques. And next week, the topic will be how to handle feeling responsible for others' survival. So we're going to end this show today with thinking about, I just want to put it out there to you, thinking about ways to create more wellness. So tuning into what do you enjoy in life. Sometimes we lose our joy. So thinking about what can you do to balance out the amount of stress, to balance out the amount of doing things that are just work. What makes you feel happy? So if you like to dance, making sure you're finding an outlet for dance. If you are a musician, are you doing things that allows you to play music? Are you an artist? Do you like to create things? Are you really introverted and just intellectual? Maybe you need a stimulation of reading a wonderful book. I love to read funny books. Sometimes I just need to laugh. Something just simple and easy, something witty. So what is enjoyable to you that is a physical outlet? So the artistic expression will help balance out the emotional body. the physical expression is going to not only help our health and how well our body feels, but it helps calm the mind. So really thinking about what is enjoyable. That, I think, helps people. As a fitness trainer, I always recommend finding a hobby, an activity that you enjoy. Some people enjoy going to the gym, some people don't. So whether it's riding a bike, going swimming, doing hiking, or doing a YouTube video that you found somewhere on YouTube that you really enjoy. Qigong is a really wonderful practice that helps work the energy in the body. It's a moving meditation. It's more simple than Tai Chi, but similar. So I often recommend Qigong to people. Qigong is spelled Qi and then Gong, G-O-N-G. So there's some wonderful YouTube videos you can find with that, and that's really helpful with anxiety, depression. It helps move the emotional body, in my opinion. When I teach a little bit of very, very, very simple Qigong, but I always recommend that to people. I've studied it. I think it's very powerful. So that is a technique I recommend. And then giving yourself outlets for your mind. If you have a mind that will not stop thinking, which to me is a sign of a brilliant person. But the way to stop it is you can journal before bed, or even talk. You could even do a voice type into your phone of the things that keep circulating in your mind, to empty out the mind and let it go. So those are some techniques to start working on the different layers of the self to find more wellness and make sure you're making time for happiness and laughter within your life. Thank you for tuning in with me today. I look forward to next week, which will be on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. I hope you have a fantastic week that is fulfilling and has much joy and wellness. And thank you for tuning in.